Well, hello, my name is Dr. Mark Kossman, and I'm the co-founder of the Professional Practice Builder Society. And with me today with you is Rob Graff of the Graff Standard, and this is the inaugural episode of the 6-Minute Obsession. So, Rob, what in the world is the 6-Minute Obsession, and why are we obsessed about 6 minutes?
Oh, I hope you're not obsessed with 6 minutes, but good afternoon, Dr. Mark. 6-Minute Obsession is something that every lawyer goes through, and every lawyer that works in any corporation knows about. We bill by tenths of an hour, so it ends up being 6 minutes. We bill 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. That's 6 minutes, 12 minutes, 18 minutes, and that's how lawyers make their money. But it's something that we become obsessed with because it enters every aspect of our life. I know for myself, I left a firm where I had to bill these 6 minutes, and the first day at home, I'm looking at my computer. I realize I have to run to the bathroom, and I turn to bill my minutes or to stop billing my minutes because I can't bill for bathroom time.
That's hysterical. And to honor the 6-Minute Obsession, we're going to limit ourselves to 12 minutes today. So we're going to do 2 billable increments, for the duration of our episode here today.
Right. It's only a 0.2 of your time.
There you go. Exactly. So we won't take you away from those billable hours. So, Rob, tell me a little bit. I mean, obviously, you're an attorney. That is your background. Why are you doing this? Because this is not obviously billable time in terms of legal billable time. Why are we doing this?
Because there's a better way. We don't have to feel that constant stress as attorneys. You talk to any attorney, and they're frustrated. They watch the TV shows, and the attorneys are having great time not worrying about the billable hours. And I understand it's a TV show. I understand that's not real life, and we all understand that. But at the same time, there's a better way to live. And I'm not saying give up the 6 minutes. I'm not saying don't bill any of your time anymore. Don't go to the partners and say, I'm not billing any time anymore. Please don't.
I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. That's not the point here, right?
No, it's not. But by refocusing yourself on the task at hand and getting into the inner meaning of why you're doing what you're doing, there is a better way to practice law, which can be more fun, more satisfying, and lead to more freedom. We went to law school. We spent years in college. We spent years in law school. We took bar exams to gain financial freedom. And now we're essentially trapped. It's almost like we're in jail. And let's face it, no one wants to be in jail.
No, and that's such a short span of time, too, that it's just even describing it, I thank goodness I've never lived life by a tenth of an hour, but it feels oppressive just trying to imagine myself sitting there having to put little chip marks down to mark that passage of time. But, we talked about this a bunch of times, Rob. So, clearly we're not going to do anything about time. We can't change time. We can't stop the fact that we have to measure time in some sense. You have to bill for something unless you're going to go to some project-based billing structure. So the time is going to remain. What is it we're actually trying to help your colleagues change?
We're changing our relationship with time. We can have a friendly relationship with time rather than the role that we're taking almost as a victim. I was speaking with an attorney today who was describing his relationship with time, saying, I have to do this. I don't have enough time. I want to exercise, but I don't have enough time. I want to spend time with my family, but I don't have enough time. If you refocus the way you look at time, if you refocus the way, rather than being a victim of it, but having a friendship with time, seeing that the hours are going to be there, that you don't have to have these set constructs about 6 minutes, 6 minutes, 6 minutes, but more of I'm doing this work for this client because I like it and I like practicing law, and this is the reason why I like practicing law. Then the billable time's going to be there. We're going to enjoy it more, and you're going to enjoy every aspect of your life more.
Yeah, no, I'm with you completely. And obviously, my background as a psychologist, I can't help but sort of think of frames of reference and how we frame things. And it's so easy to forget that in a really kind of fundamental way, time doesn't exist, right? We created the time. We created the clocks that had the arbitrary ticking, and we created the length of a minute. It's not like it really exists in nature, but because we created it, because we've got these measuring devices, they start to take on a life of their own, and it starts to feel like the tool is now in charge of me instead of me being in charge. I think a lot of us are experiencing this with email and stuff too. It's like you start to feel ruled by the inbox in a similar kind of way. But the point is, the work you're doing is going to take literally exactly as long as it takes, right? I mean, it's not like you're going to expand or contract the amount of time it takes you to, read through a document based on how many minutes there are. I mean, but it starts to feel like that, right? So how did we get here? How did the clock become in charge?
Well, I'm not a historian of legal.
Well, no, I mean literally in your personal life, in your life as an attorney, how did it get so out of control here?
It's a fear. It's a fear because we want these jobs. We want these well-paying jobs, and it's this framework of what we see as an attorney. I know when I had friends, I was a former prosecutor, and when they would leave the DA's office to go to a private firm, my first question wasn't what firm you're going to, where is it located, what type of law you practice. My first question was, how many billable hours are you going to have to bill per year? And that was my whole frame of reference. And that was a lot of frames of reference. When you talk to somebody, well, how many hours are you billing? And you look it up on the internet, how many hours does this firm require you to bill per year? And it's the basis of bonuses. It's the basis of keeping your job even at some points. It's this whole framework, and I'm not trying to change the framework. I'm not trying to revolutionize the legal system, but if each person changed how they looked at it and changed their framework, saying the billable hours are there. As you said, it takes as long as it takes somebody to read a document. If you don't worry about that time, if you don't worry, well, I need to do this in this amount of time so I can have this many hours, you have a freer time to build your own business, to, as I said, enjoy your time with your family, to do your own work, because we all are supposed to build business as attorneys as well. But if you're so afraid that I'm not going to be able to make up that time, then you're never going to be able to build that business as well. It really, the tentacles of the time go into all different aspects of our legal careers and our personal lives. So it's about recognizing that it's just a framework and changing our idea of that framework.
Right. No, that makes perfect sense. So let me shift gears just a tiny bit here and say, so obviously we're stealing 2 billable increments from anyone who's watching the show right now, or whether they're watching it live or whether they're watching it, post-recorded. So we came up with this idea in talking about time, about creating this show, the 6-Minute Obsession. So what is it we want to create for people here in the coming episodes? What's your dream for these, for bringing people back? What are you hoping that people are going to take away from sneaking away for 2 billable increments to enjoy a little time with us here?
Well, I hope people take away that it's worth it, because your time is valuable, and I respect everybody's time because of these 6 minutes, and that's why we're doing only 2 6-minute increments. But really what I'm hoping somebody can take away from this is gaining a little knowledge and a little self-reflection to realize there is a better way to practice law. You don't need to worry so much. There's a reason why the first day of law school, right after we had our tour of the school, that concern for lawyers, speaking about alcohol abuse and gambling abuse and all these other addictions that lawyers can face, was addressed, because it is a concern. I read a fact that lawyers commit suicide at 6 times the rate of the national average. It's scary thoughts. So just doing a little self-reflection and realizing that we aren't controlled by that time, that we control our destiny and that we make our own choices, and how we do that will really make us all happier and lead to a better life for you and for your family.
Yeah, and I definitely want to underscore that, because I think that, all joking aside, we can have a lot of fun talking about time, but it is serious business, and that, from a psychological perspective, I mean, that a core ingredient to whether or not we feel depressed or not is the perception of control. And if you're feeling oppressed by the ticking clock, I mean, you're just really not feeling in control. Mm-hmm. And that's just going to start to erode away day after day in a really unhealthy way. So this is serious business, but we're going to be lighthearted and have some fun with it. And now, you're obviously have made a fairly major career shift in all of this. I mean, you're bringing it back to your people because you're passionate about the legal profession, but you're working now primarily in kind of a coaching, helping people change their relationship. Am I right?
That's correct. But I still have a law practice. Most of it, surprisingly enough, is flat rate work.
No, that's one way to shift, right?
It is one way to shift. But yes, I'm focusing on this coaching and developing and helping lawyers develop into more or well-rounded people and happy people. I have tons of friends that look miserable. I talk to people that know lawyers and they say they look miserable. I hear attorneys say that they're stressed and then they don't have time to do other things. I saw an attorney at a networking event who was there to network and didn't network with anybody, just looked at her watch the whole time.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's so true. You see it all the time. It's like the more oppressed you are by the clock, the more inefficient you actually get. I mean, I will, put, this is not a self-serving statement. I put money in the fact that those who are willing to take these two little, billable increments to step out and reflect on time and work at changing their relationship with their time, they're going to come away. They're going to go back to the project they're working on, and they're going to get more done in the next hour than they would otherwise. I would make that promise to people.
I can say that when I started to shift my relationship with time, I actually was able to increase my billable hours and enjoy the work I was doing every single day because I was focused on the client and focused on knowing that the billable hours were going to be there.
Well, as we come up on the close of our second billable increment here, Rob, I think we got a lot of fun stuff in store for people. We got a lot of valuable stuff in store for people coming here. So that's the reason for our invitation to you to come back again and join us for another episode. We're going to also make it really easy for you to subscribe to future episodes so that you can get them delivered and choose the billable increment of your choice to enjoy the show in. So any closing thoughts there, Rob?
Yes. Last thought. There is a better way, and you already know the answer to it. It's just bringing it out.
Excellent. Well said. And we will see you in the next episode of the 6-Minute Obsession.